Hi Noor,
Hi, how are
how
you?
are you? Thank you
Good,
so much
good.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, would like to. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long have you been in the United States?
Yeah, my name is Noor. I'm originally from Jordan. I came here in '96. Been about 25 years now. Studied interior architecture as a passion. Became a chocolatier later on when I had kids. And then went back to school, do my graduates in foreign language education. And now I run two nonprofits. I Am Youth Group, a youth organization, and Life International Academy, a new type of innovative school that we're going to open next year.
Very nice. What was the childhood like?
It was beautiful. I would say it's one of the best parts of my life is my childhood. And Jordan was very beautiful, harmony, peaceful land. Um, I've got to experience everything. I was there until 17, I would say. But it's a beautiful community. We live around families. You grow up around families in the same neighborhood. You have that freedom as a child to go and do your own thing and come home at night. So I'd say it's a beautiful, fulfilling life.
What city was it?
I was in Amman, Jordan.
Amman, Jordan.
Yes,
And
in a specific area called Al Webde.
is that like a you can say like is like Tampa Palms? If you were
It
to
is
okay,
um, the original town or neighborhood in Jordan.
okay.
It's beautiful till today. It's flourishing. It became a historical monument right now. And when I go back every summer with my kids, we got a little apartment, and they get to experience the culture and history
Mhm.
still when we go there.
And it's a neighborhood, right?
It's a beautiful neighborhood. Yes. Yeah.
So you were here when you came to America when you were 17. So you can say that you have done a bit of growing up in America too.
Yeah, a lot.
Right, a lot.
Of course, it shapes who you are. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
45. I don't,
Okay. Okay.
but it shapes you. I lived more than half of my life here in
Probably
America.
like 2/3.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel like you didn't find or it hasn't been the same when you left since you were 17 and or you have found your own life here and you will
It's
not
interesting. We
yeah.
say when you're an immigrant, you're forever an immigrant. You're an immigrant of the world. It opens your horizons and you become part of everything. You no longer belong to one country. You belong to um, the journey you have passed yourself, right? So you go back and you see that you're still part of that history. You come here, you're still not perfectly belonging here. There's still something different, right? Um, and That's what it is. It's just you continue to be an immigrant,
Mhm.
and you just hold with you parts of all these things that you travel. The more you travel, the more you have different vision of where who you are.
Right, right. So what you went did you go to high school here or you
No,
already
I
finished
went
high
straight
school
to college.
straight college and
Yeah,
what did you study architecture you said
interior architecture.
interior
Yeah, at
architecture
UF.
do you still like pursue that or
I
let's
love
say you
it.
building a school is it like how much of
Yeah.
that
So
yeah
what I learned when I was pursuing education, that part of the lack in education also is there's no communication between architects, the ones who build those schools, and the schools, because part of what shapes the environment that you're in, the way the environment is designed. So that was very intriguing to me to pursue even more, and I'm implementing that in my school. Every corner in my school is studied very carefully of the feng shui design and bringing the elements and all that. And then I found out later that in the UK, in a head study they did, that 45% of the students' results in testing is from his environment. So it is very intriguing to me. I put all the studies I've done in interior design and the education, merged them together into what we're going to develop as an innovative school.
wow as a non-architecture person can you tell me a bit more about what do you mean by the lack of communication among the architects
Yeah, so it's not among the architects. When you come to build a school, you just hire architects, you
right
bring the teachers, the educators, and then the teachers, when they start occupying the space, nobody asks them how you want the design to be designed, and they're the most people who use the space. They come to use the space, they find the flaws. This window is architecturally beautiful, but it does not work with the way we're teaching kids. This hallway or the way the entryway to this school, or where the terrace is, or the recess, or the cafeteria. All these things are designed architecturally beautiful, and sometimes it's not communicated with the people occupying. It's different when you design a house. You design a house, you meet with the owner, you see what his needs is, you design it for him, right? In commercial building, when you're designing a school, you're only meeting with the founders, but not with the teachers, the principal, and the other people using the space, and the students. The students are a huge factor. So that's what I mean by there is a miscommunication between people who are designing the space and the occupants of the space, and the flaws are only discovered when you use that space.
Beautiful. Do you said you're building a school. Are you trying to bridge that gap now?
I'm not building it, we're renovating. We're
Renovating.
not, we would love to build it from scratch, but because it's a new startup school, we're renovating an existing building to try to make sure that we have some of the elements that I'm hoping for. And I think we're gonna do well in a very small school environment, and then develop it later for a full school.
But would you like to, if you could build a school, would you like to narrow that gap that you're talking about?
Oh,
Like,
definitely. I think if I ever specialize in the future in anything, that would be like school designs and
because it is so important. You're right, because you never ask the students who are going to sit in those classrooms,
yeah.
right? The people who, the workers who are going to live work there every day. You just talk to the founders, and the architects come and eliminate
Yeah.
the ones who are actually going to be part of it, right?
Yeah, and it's so funny that the students are your biggest customers in that school.
Right.
And we're still sitting in schools and in colleges like we sat 100 years ago when school was designed as for factory workers, to develop factory workers. And we're 100 years later, we have iPhones, but we're still sitting in the same manner we stayed 100 years ago. And that tells you by itself where the gap still exists.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is so such an uplifting conversation, really. Do you think it also reflects in other aspects of life in the United States, or going back to Amman, Jordan? See like the gap between the top people who are running the country and the people who actually build the country, but nobody cares about one.
Yeah, I mean, this country is built by immigrants, right? We are the canvas of this country. If all the immigrants go back, there would be no America. So there is a huge gap between that. And some of those countries, some of those immigrants, minorities, I would consider myself still a minority. We still have not got all our rights in here. Like, for example, Middle Easterns, we are still fighting for our right to be on census. I still have to recognize myself as white or other because I don't have a category yet.
Which box do you check?
Other, because I'm not white,
Right.
and I'm not other. I'm Middle Eastern. It's a race on its own, but it's not on the census.
Right.
We hope that one day it will be on the census.
Right.
But these are the little things that we have to understand and teach our youth, and that's why I have our youth organization. That I feel like our youth get lost within this dilemma of big people trying to decide what to do. So then the youth lose their identity, and I am trying so hard in I Am Youth Group not to have that happen.
Can you please tell us more about your organization?
I Am Youth Group is a leadership youth organization for minorities in the US. We strengthen their identity. We focus on their cultural identity through knowledge, leadership skills, and community work. So we picked those three areas we found the most influential in a youth life and a journey is once he have a strong identity where he comes from and where he's going, then they become a better human being growing up here in the US. And that is what we try to focus on.
And do you, when you say he, you mean everybody, like women?
He or she, yeah.
She, okay.
Well, the reason I say he, because when we started, it was a boys' youth group.
Oh, okay.
And then we emerged into added girls later on because of the demand. We started with just 10 boys. Us moms had 10 boys. We didn't know where to take them. They didn't feel like we belonged in just a specific school or a masjid. We wanted a leadership program. We wanted an identity focus, character focus. So we created it 5 years ago, and now it grew to become 77 students.
77. Do you have, like, is it just after school program, or can
It's a Sunday program. We would love for it to be a full after school program or a rec center, but we do not have the space. We've been moving throughout the 5 years, wherever we can find a school space that's affordable. So we lease classrooms during Sunday just for that purpose. But we are on the search. The parents have a lot of demands for their kids. We found out that we need to provide them youth counseling is one of the biggest things. We need to give them a safe haven that they can go there and practice, all the things they want to do, and they do not have that. So this year, our goal is to find a permanent location where we can provide more services.
Do you think, Noor, that some of the students, some of the children of immigrants, like from your part of the world, um, resist in any way? They say, no, I want to be American.
100%. They are fully lost.
Lost.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I deal with youth on a daily basis. I've seen we've serviced over 500 students. And one of the biggest problem we have is identity loss. Because what happens, immigrants, when they come to the US, they become in a survival mode, what I call it. Survival mode is we need to survive, we need to make income and provide to our family and kids a better life than what we had. And then when that becomes the focus, we start staying away from our culture and ancestor and history, our beautiful history. And then the children are born here in America, and many families don't focus on that part because they're busy working, right? And then they get lost. I'm like, am I American or am I Arab? Am I Indian? I'm not sure what I am. Because of that, families are no longer as involved in that, and they felt like it's not a priority because it wasn't. When we immigrated here, the purpose was to create a better life. Then your kid is now 10 and 15, like, oh my goodness, I missed out. I should have also took him back home and taught him my country and language and history so he can become a better adult because now he's an American. Mm-hmm. Or he's not American because he's still getting bullied at school, and that's what we encounter. You have the accent, you have the looks. So you're getting bullied that you're not fully American, and then that child becomes an identity crisis. Why am I being bullied but I'm born in America? And this is the problem with second and third generation. I'm an advocate in the Hillsborough County Public Schools. We go translate for immigrants who do not speak fluently English, and we find that across the board, that the cultural gap is becoming a huge problem for students when they get bullied for being different or for looking different.
Do you think you even though you know that this is 100% true, that there is a resistance from these kids, but have you also noticed that there's change in you making a difference?
Oh, 100%. What makes me hold on to this organization, although I've been volunteering for the past 5 years, never got paid. And people ask me why. I could pursue an architecture job and get a really good, well-paid job. Is those children. I get calls even at night from parents asking for help. I see that I'm making a difference in their life. When I come every Sunday and he opens up to me and tell me what's happening, I go to his school and try to help. I'm finding that I'm doing a difference in his life. When a student was going to be failed because his parents did not read a letter, English properly, and I stepped to the school and try to help them out, and he's now in the right grade. These are moments that you cannot replace whatsoever with any job on earth, because you're seeing the difference. And they get sick. We have kids who get sick, and that's called the silent psychological issues that they have. They're having anxiety and depression. And add to that all the social media that we're having. And who's looking at these young kids? We're saying, go to school, study, get good grades. This becomes the goal for all parents. And we're not looking at their well-being anymore as we used to.
So do you think you cannot always blame the parents for not being able to understand what the child is going through, because they don't know what they're going through.
Of course,
right?
We were not given the tools to parent as an immigrant. So yes, we're still learning ourselves. So yeah, I can't fully blame the parents, but I do want to give them some sort of responsibilities,
right,
that we should continue teaching our kids where we come from, no matter where you immigrate. Because I found from examples, the parents who constantly go back home or invest in a Sunday school program, or become part of their mosque or synagogue or whatever their religion is, their kids are have more identity stability than kids who their parents are not doing that. So I have to put 50% of the pressure on parents. I have to. We're raising these young adults in our households.
Yeah, you can. What I'm saying is, yes, they should be responsible, but maybe as you said, that they do not have the tools
Yeah.
to even understand, because
Yes.
they are not the ones that are getting bullied at school.
Right.
The children are, and they're just like, why don't you just go and study and do the homework and get the grades? Well, how hard is it? But the psychological pressure and the trauma, I think they're oblivious of it. Would you think so?
I
The
mean, it's
parents can
true.
sometimes,
And
not
same with
always.
our
Yeah,
parents, if you
yeah,
remember.
yeah,
When we
yeah.
were growing up, our parents didn't speak our language. And
Right.
that's always a gap between parents. And now that we have more access to technology, I feel like parents have a little of advantage of learning and pursuing that, or making it a priority that I want to pursue what my kid is thinking. I want to speak like my kid. I want to see what language is my child talking. And I ask my kids when they're talking to me, what does that mean? What do you mean, like some terminology that I'm not aware of? So just you spending some time with them, asking them. And I think the key thing here is to spend 1 hour a day during dinner with your children. Like make that a ritual. If you have work, if you have whatever, if you spend one meal a day with your children and making it a conversational thing, I think that gap would be much narrower than what we're looking at.
Beautiful. Thank you. Um, so what you're saying is, just spending an hour with your child can make a difference.
Yeah.
Just
Research says 10 minutes, but I'm pushing it to an hour,
Yeah.
hoping maybe they'll spend 30 minutes.
So what are those parents that you think they should be more responsible? What are they doing instead of spending time
They're working hard.
working hard? Do you
The
think?
US have some sort of advantages and disadvantages. There's so much opportunities, right?
Right.
And there's people want to grow their career. It's like something everybody wants to grow their career, and there is potential for that. So we get geared toward that goal so much. We get consumed with the hour working. There's no more 9 to 5. I used to hear that in the past. People are almost working 9 to 9. We get so consumed in that that we're giving um, less priority to the other things.
Do you think is it also the trap of being productive all the time?
Yeah, you have to be connected all the time, productive, and then the social media pressure. Everybody's excelling, and I have to keep up with that. I think if we disconnect and give ourselves a weekend to disconnect, these goals can be, oh, beautiful squirrels. um, that disconnection, if we are capable, some of the most highly achieved person in the world are saying that they give themselves a day off of technology and work. And then it's becoming a successful routine in their lifestyle.
So, and that's what you're trying to achieve, or uh, create by this organization.
I have not reached the parents' awareness as much. We're focusing on the youth because I feel like the parents is such a bigger thing that I have to tap in order for me to bring awareness programs to the parents. We have not done that yet. With the limited resources, we thought we want to focus on the youth. So what I am able on doing on that Sunday, I'm bringing youth counselors, I'm bringing life coaches, speakers, whatever I can tap on, any resources I can bring to make a difference in that child life on that Sunday, I will do it. So that's what we're focused on just on the youth.
Noor, do you think? I mean, you've touched upon a beautiful topic. Actually, you're not just topic, but this is all your mission. All you've been doing it for years, right?
Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
my calling. And some people, when you find your calling,
Yeah.
it becomes your target.
Right. Do you think what you're saying is not only applicable on the immigrant parents of kids, but
Oh,
also all kinds of kids can benefit from
100%,
some time with their
100%.
parents, right?
100%. This applies to every single parent in the world. Once the social media, in the past 10 days, 10 years, sorry, in the past 10 years, when the era of Apple and iPads and technology have entered our lives, there's a huge shift in our youth in general. Like depression is becoming now a normal thing for a 10-year-old. Suicidal rates have grown. So there's something huge happening with our youth, with our children, that we're not giving it as much attention as we should. And that's why I wanted to focus on that area, because a lot of people are focusing on this amazing technology that's happening, right? But there is a huge shift. Every single parent would benefit from just focusing a little bit, giving some time for their children, and having some limitations on their social media, on their internet. We feel like when we were little, we had curfew, right? We had to come home before dark. And we have to start looking at those phones as a curfew because on his phone, he have access, she or he, our children have access to the entire world, right? They can be in their own visually world on that phone. So if we don't have a curfew for that, at 7 you're home with the family, we're done. Your phone is off. There's no need for it whatsoever. Then we will continue to lose our children to the phones and technology and this to imaginary virtual world they're living.
Yeah, this is so true because when I teach in my classroom, like at least a good number of like 40%, 30% are going through some kind of mental health problem.
Yeah.
These are 18, 19, 21,
And
20.
those are the ones you see.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
the hidden ones.
Right.
And if you look at the hidden ones, we might be talking about 80%.
Right. The ones who are not telling you.
Right. Those are the toughest ones to deal with.
Well, thank you so much. And is there anything else you would like to talk about this whole project of yours, or anything else?
No, I just
and
want.
you are blessed with a nice family, who a
Yes.
supportive spouse.
Yes, my husband is extremely supportive. He's a pilot. He's always flying, and he whenever he's home, he's always with us in the organization, helping us with the youth. And right now, he's actually helping us building the school.
Very
My
nice.
kids has been very part of this. Like my own kids has been part of this mission and this organization. They volunteer with us. They teach with us. So it became a family thing. Like I am youth group or life. It became part of our life, and we involved them in our career, and that's a blessing. That I'm not doing it on my own. I'm doing it with my family. They're looking forward to what's gonna come from this because they're part of it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.